All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to talk sports on Splash 105.
Us to talk sports.
Us, yes, us.
Okay, that sounds very good this morning.
I'm talking tennis this morning. You know, we talked about
You just checked it out, right?
No. BBC Minute. It was on the.
Okay.
It was on the.
I know you must have gotten some kind of Vespo somehow.
And I was excited because that was one of the names that you mentioned when I asked you, since Novak is out, who could be one of the best choices?
I got it right.
Absolutely,
I mentioned Dominic Thiem, and
is this his first U.S. Open?
Yes, to win the Grand Slam in the U.S. Open. Yes, this is his first.
Wow, so this is huge for him.
It's got to be huge for him. I mean, any Grand Slam at all will be huge for these guys because traditionally, 80 to 90% of the time, it revolves around maybe just three guys. Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. So for you to be laying your hands on this one, I mean, it's a big deal. Absolutely.
For the women, a lot of people had hoped to see Serena and Osaka again, but that's not happening. Azarenka.
We'll take for Naomi Osaka. We'll take it. Even though she's Japanese, but she's black Japanese. So she's half black, half Asian.
You people are so ethnicist in this Nigeria. Yes. Since we can't be racist, we can't be racist.
Our hands up. Black Lives Matter. So we are taking that to
I hear you.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much, Charity. Yes, Feromi, I mean, what's that look you're giving me when I search his, half black, half Asian?
Well, I think it's just...
Is that supposed to be, But I'm correct.
Of course you are. When it comes to anything, black, that is actually, having a very good game in the world of sports.
We should have started by taking a knee.
Yeah, maybe. And of course, Naomi Osaka is this kind of lady that has actually been adamant about supporting Black Lives Matters. She has, at one point, she withdrew in the ATP before the US Open. So she was actually very, very vocal about the fact that, Black Lives Matters in the United States. So definitely, to that extent, you are definitely right. But, good morning to you today. Good morning to you, and of course, that's our wonderful listener out there.
Good morning to Feromi Adegwega. Nice to have you here. And of course, Ayobambi Anima Shaun. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning to you, Tunde. Good morning to Feromi, and good morning to the listener out there. Yeah, starting off with Naomi Osaka. She's half Japanese, half Haitian, so maybe that explains why she's fully blooded as an African, or say a black woman. And interestingly, after winning the US Open, she also went as far as saying the moment she remembers that she carries a black man's blood in her, that is enough to spur into greater performances. And now that she's coupling that, with a bit of a bit of message to kick against social profiling. I mean, this girl is obviously doing a whole lot more than I actually expected from a young woman at the age of 22. And with the top Grand Slam in her kitty right now, it seems she really has the huge support of the entire black, race behind her. I mean, that's exactly what I think must have really been driving Serena Williams in times past. And, in the advent of our recent, nose-diving performances, I think Naomi Osaka is simply giving us something else to also cheer about, and I'm quite elated to actually have her win that particular top Grand Slam just a few days ago.
Okay, beyond tennis, we have a whole lot to cover on the program Sports Bank this morning. So I will say good morning to you. Welcome on board. Today is the 14th day in the month of September, year 2020. You're listening to the Integrity Station, Splash 105.5 FM, the very first edition of the program Sports Bank for this week, and it promises to be exciting, to be dramatic, to be everything that you wish and of course hope for. My name is Tunde Olawuwo. Remember, you can log on to our website www.splashfm1055.com. You can also catch us live on Facebook this morning, Splash 105.5 FM. Our handle is at for Twitter is at SplashFM1055, Save on Instagram as well. Okay, quickly from the world of tennis, Austria's Dominic Thiem clinched his first Grand Slam title after a great fight back from 2-set down, stunned Alexander Zverev in the US Open final. Second seed Thiem had lost his previous three major finals and looked destined for another agonizing defeat. But 23-year-old Zverev, playing in his first Slam final, became edgy at key moments and Thiem took full advantage. Both players failed to serve out victory in a 10th decider before Thiem sealed a 2-6 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 7-6 win. Earlier on Saturday, Naomi Osaka demonstrated a growing maturity to fight back against Victoria Azarenka in a compelling US Open final and claim her third Grand Slam title. Japanese fourth seed Osaka won 1-6, 6-3, 6-3 for her second US Open title. And straight to Formula One, Lewis Hamilton claimed his sixth race victory of the season, taking the checkered flag in a dramatic and drama-filled Toscan Grand Prix, which saw 2 red flags. The victory sees Hamilton extend his lead at the top of the driver's standings to 55 points, with Valtteri Bottas passing up a series of opportunities to pass his teammate. Alex Albon clinched his first podium finish, holding off the challenge of Daniel Ricciardo, who was denied his best result as a Renault driver. Hamilton's win was his 6th in 9 races this season, and coupled with the fastest lap secured on the penultimate tour, and putting just one behind Michael Schumacher's all-time record of wins. He won't look back at year 2020, not just as a COVID ravaged year, but the year maybe that eventually surpasses Michael Schumacher.
Definitely.
It is actually bound to happen. I think it's currently on 90, and we've still got about I think about 8 more races before the end of the year. And with the way there's been a bit of inconsistency right there in the Formula One world this season, take out the performance of Lewis Hamilton, I think others have been quite inconsistent this year. I mean, it's really baffles me to look at the year 2020. No disrespect though, but to have a Pierre Gasly as a Grand Slam winner, to have Max Verstappen struggling to keep up with the pace, Valtteri Bottas leading at that particular Grand Prix at Tuscan, yesterday at the point in time, but eventually surrendered, that particularly. So it says a whole lot about the inconsistency of so many other drivers except Lewis. So with just about half of other races, half of the races in the calendar left, and with this kind of consistency, with this kind of top-level delivery performance that we've been seeing from Hamilton, it's just a matter of when and not if he would eventually catch up with that record, top it, and perhaps extend it. And you realize the funny thing about it is Hamilton for me still got about 2-3 more years to go at top level, though we don't know what would eventually turn out to be the fate of Mercedes when we have the new rules being introduced at the end of 2021 season. Maybe that would take away the power from from Hamilton and from Mercedes to a different team entirely. But I think so far so good. It's got between now and the end of 2021 to even further pull clear. Haven't already, when eventually beats the record, to pull clear and set a different one that might just even turn out to be an unassailable for any other young driver to eventually catch up with in the nearest future. Okay,
we move on this morning, and quickly from handball, the Handball Federation of Nigeria has tentatively scheduled the Prudent Energy Handball Premier League for October in Abuja. A statement by the HFN Secretary General Alhaji Dama Sama Mohammed said the top-tier handball league, which was postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic, will hold in the nation's capital from the 23rd of October to the 7th of November. The tournament will, however, only go ahead if approval is granted by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Alhaji Sama said the unique circumstances of this year's tournament means the first and second phases will be scrapped, and all teams in the men's and women's categories will play each other in a round-robin format to determine the 2020 champions. And quickly, let's talk about football in Europe. Remember, we had a couple of leagues back over the weekend. Quickly from the Dutch league, Arjen Robben. Well, his story is funny. He won so many titles in England, in Spain, in Germany as well. He retired, and then somehow he was persuaded to come out of retirement, but it hasn't looked good so far. Arjen Robben's comeback lasted 28 minutes as he was injured during Groningen's 3-1 home defeat by PSV Eindhoven on the opening weekend of the Eredivisie season. The 36-year-old Netherlands winger quit football in July 2019 after a hugely successful career, but came back this summer to rejoin the club where he started. He was welcomed back by 6,049 excited fans for his first start since 2018, but pulled up with the first half injury and had to be replaced. And in Germany, RB Leipzig dominated second-tier Nuremberg throughout the German Cup first-round game on Saturday to win 3-0 for a successful start in the German top-flight season. Fellow Bundesliga club Borussia Mönchengladbach had no trouble against amateurs Oberland, crushing them 8-0 with 2 goals from Patrick Eman and Florian Neuss, while Cologne is past Aglinik 6-0. And quick roundup from the French league. Neymar was one of 5 players sent off after an injury time brawl as Marcel beat PSG in Ligue 1. As he left the pitch, the Brazilian told the fourth official he had heard a racist comment. Florian Thauvin scored the only goal as PSG lost the opening 2 league games for the first time since 1984-1985. Elsewhere, Henri Yekuru came on and provided an assist in AS Monaco's 2-1 win against visiting Nantes. The win means Monaco have now won their 1,000th game in the top flight of French football. Also, they are the 4th club to achieve it in the history of the Ligue 1. Fermi, we had some exciting games over the weekend.
Definitely. Yeah, well, starting from the League One, right, they're talking about that particular game, Olympique Marseille against PSG. It was, a show of, let me say, players without, appropriate attitude on the field of play, because I felt it could have actually been controlled by these guys. Even though you actually heard racist, chants talking about Neymar, you could have just approached the, the referee and actually make things clear. But then, both parties talking about the Olympique Marseille
he actually
players.
approached the referee. In fact, the incidents happened in the first half. He told the referee, and interestingly, the referee.
But the referee's call to, either said to stop the match. There's a protocol.
There's a protocol you have to follow before you can actually. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I also feel, this should really serve as a bit of, wake up call now. I think it's just been a long time we've been clamoring, and of course we've been having the players doing, say no to racism. Trying to actually take a knee before the start of games and all that. I think it's just about time we add, the organizers, the football associations. Take a bolder step. For instance, in the instance of Neymar reporting to, the referee, I think a stiff penalty should really have been served out to Alvaro, because indeed, in the absence of that was exactly what really infuriated Neymar, and he waited for after about an hour till the last few minutes of the game before eventually, shoved Alvaro in his head. Exactly.
Yeah.
So remember, it's even a derby. It's even a derby itself. So I think at the end of the day, Neymar tried so much to avoid, letting out his emotions, but in the absence of, the match officials doing the right thing, as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what led to. And need I say that there is no really justifiable reason, for you to actually go out in such with so much anger, regardless of whether there was validated racial abuse earlier in the course of the match or not. You do not really go out there and do something of sort. It's really for something that should be unconstitutional to a top player like Neymar, who I think should really be serving as a huge role model for so many youngsters out there. There's a reason why we were actually just a few months ago and a few years ago talking about walking off the pitch being a better option, than actually this kind of a route that must have really earned him not just the possibility of missing the next few games for PSG and possibly, a bit of.
No, I'm looking at it. England seem to be doing better than all other European countries.
Yeah.
When it comes to top league, in Germany we still have this problem, even though it's not as bad as Italy
France
and France.
Yeah.
But Ayobami has mentioned, the fact that organizers should, be more stringent when it comes to dealing with this problem. But what else do you think can be done? Knowing that it's actually not the organizers' fault.
Yeah, definitely.
Pardon me, silly enough, to abuse people racially. What do you think can be done?
Of course, I think, from the side of organizers now, I think more stringent measures like probably, allowing those clubs that are actually capable of this maybe playing behind closed doors when the fans now, if they are not allowed inside the stadium, they will know that next time coming on board we will know how to caution ourselves, because if they actually
done this route before,
we've done it before, we can do it again. As long it looks like these guys are not ready to actually cooperate with the organizers, they are not ready to do the right thing.
A lot of innocent fans that way.
But then when the innocent is suffering, the guilty will also join. So I think when the guilty is suffering, the innocent
is that fair?
But I think that's one of the major things that can be done to actually reduce this, because it's really getting on the uprising right there, especially in France and Italy, and probably point deduction to some point. Maybe it will actually
now, when it gets to point deduction, do you not? It may sound like a conspiracy theory on my part here, but do you not foresee a situation where some clubs will plant fans. Knowing
the
that
opposition.
Maybe you're 2 points ahead of me. I just go plant some fans, pseudo fans there. They make racist comments. Your points get deducted.
That is why you have to go deep down in investigation. Make sure that you are actually punishing the right person.
How do you know
that's how to take it? I mean, that's where to take it from.
How do you punish?
I think England have been able to just do that for some use of technology, for some use of investigation processes. I don't know how they get to do it. The moment
usually the police takes up this case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all realize that racial abuse is a societal problem, not one that is actually just peculiar to football. And if indeed football associations are really going to tackle this as much as we want them to, they will still need the help, from the police department of the country, of the state, or whatever county they are. So it is very important that other countries take a cue from England. Wherever you hear of racial abuse on the social media pages of any football player, the next you hear, perhaps few hours or few days later, is the person the perpetrator has actually been held responsible, perhaps being served sentences or ban or whatever it is. Even if it happens in a football match stadium, there is a way they actually pinpoints the said fan. So it's very rare to hear of such from France, from Spain, from Italy, and possibly from Germany as well. So I think indeed, if other top European countries need to actually take a cue, they should look towards that particular investigative route that would actually help. But in terms of point deduction, I subscribe to your thoughts. Football is sometimes very, very interesting, such that
it gets tribal sometimes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely,
so you can't really say for a fact the length at which oppositions will go to actually get one over you. So I wouldn't really subscribe to that.
Now let's put all of that aside.
Yeah.
PSG is struggling.
Yeah.
Right now.
First two games
they've lost.
A situation where maybe they will be challenged in the league.
No, well, I think time will tell. I can't say. Time is telling. It's just 2 games. If there is any team that can actually bounce back, it's definitely PSG. They are serial winners in the French Ligue 1. We can't take that away from them. But then I still think they're still yet to actually settle down. This is a team that just lost the finals of the Champions League. It would definitely tell on them. And let's not forget the first match that they actually lost. Several of the major players were not actually involved due to coronavirus.
It wouldn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter at the end of the day. But trust me, yeah, definitely.
With a vastly superior squad to all other teams in France.
I understand. And once this team actually, click together, trust me, I don't think there's anybody that can actually stop them. And the question is, can other teams in the French Ligue 1 be consistent when PSG actually comes back and start getting the goals and start getting the wins? That's the major question. So I think, I don't think it's over for that. I don't think we should start getting worried, with PSG losing.
It's over.
Yeah, it's definitely
but
over.
But it calls for concern.
I don't think it's cause for concern yet.
The first time
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's over.
I don't think so. We'll come back and still talk about the fact that French League 1 is still farmers league.
No.
Because they'll win it at the end of the day.
Concern doesn't mean they won't win it.
I think they will.
Okay, you've watched this before.
We wait and see. I think they will.
In the Spanish La Liga, we'll start with a COVID-19 related story. Atletico Madrid coach Diego Simeone has tested positive for COVID-19. His club said in a statement. Atletico's statement said the Argentine was asymptomatic and was currently isolating in his home after undergoing a test on Friday during the team's preseason training camp. But we'll talk about real football right now. The La Liga season started on Saturday, but Atletico are missing the first 2 weekends due to participating in last month's Champions League Final 8 tournament. Meanwhile, Eibar and Celta Vigo opened the new La Liga season with a goalless encounter before Granada defeated Athletic Bilbao 2-0. Valencia twice came from behind to beat local rivals Levante 4-2 on Sunday, a welcome boost to morale following a turbulent summer for the club. Manu Vallejo scored the decisive late goals in a goal fest at Mestalla after Jose Luis Morales' double for Levante had been cancelled out by Gabriel Palista and the excellent Maxi Gomez. Well, the big boys, were not in action, over the weekend in La Liga. Real Madrid not playing.
Sevilla.
Well, Lionel Messi played, in
a friendly,
more or less still a preseason for him. But it was good to see Lionel Messi back, with the armband for Barcelona.
He was never going to be stripped of his armband.
No.
Definitely.
But
at that point in time,
there were doubts whether I was going to
yes, there were doubts. But at that point that he said I was going to play, it was never going to be stripped because they would just be
I don't think anyone was actually expecting him to have been stripped of the captaincy band.
The fact that this is somebody who once said,
just barely 3 weeks ago,
I'm not playing for this club again.
Yeah.
And to see him back in action.
Of course, professionalism has to come to place.
Representing the club, I mean, being the captain means you are actually the first the first man, the go-to guy in that squad. So it says a lot as regards how things have really transpired in the last.
But how will he play this season? A lot of people are telling us that, look, we haven't heard the last.
Yeah.
The fact that, well, maybe quote and unquote has been forced to stay back doesn't mean we're going to see the Messi we're used to seeing. Because it looks pretty much like he's been forced to stay.
No, I beg to disagree. Messi is a top professional.
Definitely.
That's one thing I know.
He's also a human being.
Obviously. But if he's not a top professional,
has he been forced to stay or not?
Yeah, he has.
That buyout clause was an impossible.
It is quite obvious to everybody that Messi,
on paper, he has been forced to stay. But with the way things actually played out,
you also need to realize that he has decided to stay because he loves Barcelona. That's exactly the point that supersedes every other thing.
They wanted to leave.
Any other player in this particular situation would have just forced his way out. We talked about this off the air sometimes last week, but because he loves
Barcelona, it's not possible in our situation to force a way out.
Well, it is.
If you have a clause that says to activate, this release, somebody must be willing to pay this much.
Neymar did that. He forced his way out.
They paid the clause.
Neymar's clause was not as much as Messi's clause.
PSG paid.
And there is no. And I don't think.
And I don't think forced his way out, didn't he?
Was anybody going to pay 700 million euros
exactly
for Messi?
I think that was where the major problem is.
Yeah, it is. But the most important thing is, regardless of whether indeed there is just a huge amount of money or not.
About 40 goals already.
He didn't score 40 last season, so I don't give him expectation. But I actually expect to still be as influential as a typical Messi.
As he has always been.
Of course, he has to.
The funny thing is, one thing about Messi is the moment he gets scoring again, gets providing the assist, fans will be quick to forget what really happened just 3 weeks ago.
We'll be watching for his, body language.
Yes,
to turn up for
body language in terms of what exactly.
There will be a lot of body language on the pitch.
On the pitch, it will definitely play well. That is Messi for no. Professionalism will set in in that regard. Maybe body language off the field.
No. Even on the
field.
But
on the field of play.
On the pitch,
even what I think what today is trying to say is there will be less scrutiny into everything he does.
Yes.
Even if he spits on the field of play, people will reach so much meanings to that. Exactly.
Come on.
It is bound to happen.
We are really taking this over. Messi before leaving has always been kind of having this kind of lackadaisical attitude on the field of play, even without the ball. We all know that. He walks around. Even we all know that. So if it continues like that, we should not read meaning into that.
Make a case for him. I think there will still be his scrutiny regardless.
Okay, now in the English Premier League, Alexander Lacazette scored the first goal of the 2019-2020 Premier League season, becoming the first player to open the scoring in the campaign twice. The Frenchman found the net in the 9th minute of his side's 3-0 win over Fulham before debutant Gabriel Magalhaes and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang completed the rout. Basically, the big boys turned up over the weekend. Liverpool also won, and Everton are looking like one of
real
the
deal.
big boys.
Yeah. So I won't
shame
be
on
flattered. Well, I think it's
let's take a break to catch up with the BBC Premier League updates. You guys want to start making it?
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Paul Serres at the BBC Sports Centre. Everton's new signings made impressive debuts to help them to the club's first win over Tottenham since 2012. Former Real Madrid player James Rodriguez, Brazil's Alan and midfielder Abdoulaye Doucouré all starred for Everton, but it was striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin who grabbed the only goal of the match.
When you get the 3 points and score and contribute, it's a good day at the office, so I'm happy with my performance today. A lot more to come, fitness still to come, and we've not long been playing together as the new signings have come in, so there's more to come.
Toffees boss Carlo Ancelotti said after the game that Everton supporters are right to be excited about the season ahead.
They have to be excited because I think that the supporter of Everton suffered from a long time, and so when we have a good result, they have to show their happiness.
It was a harsh return to the Premier League for newly promoted West Bromwich Albion after they were comfortably beaten 3-0 by Leicester City. Last season's Premier League top scorer Jamie Vardy converted 2 penalties, with the opening goal scored by debutant Timothy Castagne. The Belgium defender joined from Atalanta, and manager Brendan Rodgers was delighted with his contribution.
He's a player that fits the profile of how I want to work. He's very fast. He's non-stop running. He gets forward. He wants to score goals as a fullback, but importantly, he also can defend. He's aggressive. He's got composure, and No, he's a brilliant signing for us. 24 Belgian international coming to the Premier League, and he'll prove, I think, to be a really, really good asset for us. So great debut for him, and really pleased.
And Wolves manager Nuno Espirito Santo has signed a new 3-year contract with the club. The Portuguese has taken Wolves from mid-table in the Championship to their first European quarter-final in almost 50 years in the 3 seasons he has been in charge. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
Okay, there you listen to the BBC Premier League update. Also, Mourinho of Tottenham Hotspur, where he blamed the loss on the fact that a lot of his players were affected by COVID-19. Let us hope that everything will be settled.
He's always keen to make excuses.
Let's not go.
But I actually feel
I think he knows what he was working to when he actually got that job. He knew that Tottenham is a low-budget team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Muchas gracias.
It's been a great time. Aziz, the look on his face, when I took that Arsenal story, it felt like giving us all the time in the world to carry on with the show. Man. Do have a wonderful Monday. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye.
Splash FM 105.5.
She is sometimes a judge.
Rosie, apologize to your sister.
And other times an accountant.
How much did Auntie give you? Let me keep it.
She's also a nutritionist.
Smoothie is good for you, Bella. Drink up.
She's even a musician.